Trades. You love them, but you hate them at the same time. There are some different kinds of trades too. You have ones where both teams are helping each other out for either the present or the future, blockbuster deals, deals with mostly minor leaguers involved, etc. The perception of trades always varies depending on the point of view too. If you're a fan of a team selling off guys to a contender, you're good chance that you won't be too happy about it. Well, if you're in the opposite position, you'll be pumped. In this video, we're going to go through some of the worst and lopsided trades in baseball history. Take a second to like this video, and if you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button for future baseball content. Whenever I think of a bad and lopsided trade, the first one that comes to mind is the one that took place in 2018 between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Tampa Bay Rays. It seemed like a good move at the time for the Pirates, as they were only 3.5 games back of a postseason spot at the time of the deal. General manager Neil Huntington had his sights set on Chris Archer as the prize of the trade deadline, and he got his guy. The only issue is that he gave up some valuable pieces. The Rays hauled in 3 guys overall, with outfielder Austin Meadows and starting pitcher Tyler Glasnow headlining the Rays' return. Meadows was already a good player with good potential before the trade, slashing .292 .327 with a .468 slugging percentage in his first 165 plate appearances as a big leaguer. Glasnow, on the other hand, well, he struggled. Throughout his time in Pittsburgh, Glasnow had walked nearly 6 batters per 9 innings. Once he got to the Rays, though, that problem seemed to magically improve exceptionally. At the time of the trade, Glasnow was handing out 5.5 free passes per 9 innings. After the trade, he walked just about over 3 hitters per 9. In 2019, he brought that down to around 2 and put up a 3.5 in 2020 and has walked 3.5 per 9 so far in 2021. The strikeout numbers for Glasnow have been through the roof since he arrived in St. Pete, and then you add on his long flowing hair and Tyler has basically become a Rays icon. Meadows was 15th in MVP voting in 2019 and hasn't been too great ever since, but he still has plenty of potential and has already improved from his poor 2020. Since the trade, Archer has been terrible. He was just okay in the second half of 2018, but had an ERA well over 5 in 2019, missed all of 2020, and after all of that ended up signing back with the Rays for the 2021 season. So at the end of it all, the Rays traded away Archer only for them to end up getting him back 2.5 years later, along with some good young talent in Meadows and Glasnow. Chaim Bloom is known and has a reputation for fleecing opposing teams. He was with the Rays when they made the deal with Pittsburgh we just talked about, now is the head of baseball operations for the Boston Red Sox, and has already left a pretty darn good impact. The Red Sox were really bad in 2020, but that didn't stop Chaim from making great moves. On August 21st, 2020, about halfway through the season, Bloom made a deal for some pitchers while trading some pitchers of his own. The Red Sox traded away relievers Brandon Workman and Heath Hembree to the contending Phillies for starter Nick Pivetta and minor league pitcher Connor Siebold. Workman and Hembree ended up contributing to statistically one of the worst bullpens in baseball history. Combined, Hembree and Workman pitched to a 9 ERA, giving up 22 runs in as many innings while allowing 39 hits since the trade. The Phillies missed the playoffs entirely, and Hembree ended up signing with the Cincinnati Reds, with Workman going to the Chicago Cubs. Meanwhile, in Boston, Nick Pivetta has a 2.89 ERA in a Red Sox uniform and has been the best Red Sox starter so far this season. Connor Siebold has yet to throw a pitch, but he's a top 15 Red Sox prospect slotted at number 14 in the system. And it was just recently where Brandon Workman ended up getting released by the Cubs, only to re-sign with the Red Sox on a minor league deal. Whether he goes on to figure it out or not doesn't matter for Chaim Bloom and the Red Sox because the trade has already been won and has done so in a landslide. For this third and final trade we're going to talk about in this video, we're going to travel back in time to 2013 when the Baltimore Orioles traded Jake Arrieta and Pedro Strop to the Cubs for Scott Feldman. The Cubs were out of the race that year, with Baltimore in contention and willing to give up 2 pitchers who weren't fulfilling expectations for a guy having a career year in Feldman. Feldman closed out the regular season with a 4.27 ERA in 15 starts, which is alright, but the Orioles ended up missing out on October, while Arrieta and Strop produced and played a huge part of some future Cubs teams in the north side of Chicago. Arrieta became an ace the following year in 2014, won the NL Cy Young in 2015 with a 1.77 ERA, played a big part in the Cubs breaking the over-century-long curse of the Billy Goat, and had a couple good years after that. Strop is still going strong in the Cubs bullpen, with a sub-3 ERA and 28 saves in 390 appearances over the course of 7 seasons. As for Scott Feldman, he's been irrelevant since 2015, having been retired since 2017. This is only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to lopsided trades in baseball history, so let me know in the comments which of these trades was the worst one and if I should do a part 2. Thank you so much for watching.